including having it figured out, a path, a plan, an endpoint, a goal. Not an endpoint.
So we're saying by 22, right?
22.
You should be on the road to that.
You think?
You should be on the road. I'm not saying you haven't figured it out yet, but at least start thinking about it.
You should be at the stage where you're impacting younger people.
Nah, I disagree.
All right, why?
Because
first of all, elaborate in terms of impact.
elaborate, actually.
I think life, like you should be constantly helping those that are younger than you, and being helped by those that are older. So either mentoring young people, leading them.
This guy's giving himself a pat on the back nicely, right? Mr. Youth Leader.
You're killing it. I like that.
Yeah.
But
There's a lot of people that
at the same time,
But isn't
100%.
there such a like you just end up disconnecting yourself from a whole generation, and then it's like those people end up being those old people that are like stupid kids.
Damn. Whoa. Nah, you know what?
Like,
That's,
of course they're stupid to you because you've never listened to them.
Nah. That's so crazy. That is so crazy. Because right now, it honestly makes the point of you're either able to now connect with the younger gen or you actually cut that off from then on. And it's out now only, you can only relate with either someone older than
Your
you
age.
or your age right now. Sometimes not even people older than you.
Those are the same people that don't talk to anyone older than them.
Exactly. And literally your only experience of life becomes people in your
Out of
set.
your-
That's
And
whoa.
so when it comes to like, I'm going through relationship issues, I only ask people my age that are going through the same relationship issues for the first time. I never end up asking someone that's 15 years older, married with a couple kids or so, right? That's gone through this stuff. And then there's a kid out there that's gonna, they just had their first breakup or whatever, right? And they're like, what do I do? And either they go talk to their friends, or you could be the kid, the older person to them that's like, hey, actually, I've been through this when I was 15. If you do this all kind of helps. I know it sucks, blah, 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 whatever. You talk them through all that kind of stuff, whatever you say, right? But it's like, I feel like that adds purpose to your life as well.
Does that happen often from
Like,
from
as
your
in you get
experience?
to talk to kids and stuff like that?
Well, they're coming to you and actually telling you things that they
because I'm a cool dude.
friends.
Oh, mate.
Okay.
Fun guy. Yeah.
He's a fun guy.
Fun guy.
Like, to an extent, right?
I'll put that on the list. I'd impacting the younger gen. I'd say
Like,
no.
at this
Because if
age,
you don't,
should.
if you don't
Sorry, Carlos.
buy, if you don't buy, don't you do stuff with youth as well?
No. I mean, because he was about to say
Cut him
something.
off.
Right.
Nah, go ahead.
Because this is the point where like you're getting old, right? Or you're getting out of touch with teenagers at least, right? So if you're not involved with them, you just start looking like an old person.
Yeah.
Because we can all think of like 25-year-olds now that are young at heart, and 25-year-olds that seem like they're really old. And the ones that like you can tell young people will be like, it's cool to hang out with this guy, and the one that be like, what do I say around her? Right? What do I say around him? So it's like this is where you start getting really out of touch almost. I don't want to be the old guy that's gonna start hating on skinny jeans and or whatever the trend is, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't want to hate on that stuff.
It's not even a thing of like for you, even when it comes to the out of touch as well. It's just the fact that as a person, as a human, you should be able to connect with everyone at any
Given time.
given time, because you were once that, and you were also that. This is gonna take me some time to get to this point. You were once that, in terms of the younger gen, and you're also going to be that in terms of the older gen. And the older gen was once you right now. So why can you not relate in that space? How is it so hard for you to relate to the younger gen or the older? Because they were once you, you were once the younger. Like you should be able to relate to anyone at any point. I was actually.
And this is why, like for
real
example,
Different times, man.
Yeah.
Like we grew up
It
in
doesn't
different
matter.
times.
No.
The human
It's different
condition
times.
has been the same though.
that's what I was gonna say.
Come on, man.
At the core of things, people go through the same stuff.
Exactly. We're still the same humans at
Kids
the
in
point.
18 something, they liked girls too, and then they had a breakup, and someone ran around to the neighbor's house and told the other person that you broke up with this person.
It's that exactly.
Nowadays, someone texts someone, but
Yeah.
it's
We're
just
still
kids
going
like
through the
girls and
same
girls
kind
like
of
boys. And
conditions,
Nah, this is why I disagree to an extent, yeah?
All right, let's hear it.
Because there is some stuff that I might be going through, but but my parents will never be able to understand it because they never went through anything similar. Hey, you guys alright?
Yeah, we're good. We're good.
Yeah, we're throwing each other stuff like that because they never went through anything similar to what I went through.
Alright, give me an example of something like that.
Okay, let me think.
Trust me, you ain't getting anything.
Okay, so example.
Because when you break it down,
No,
we can put it down to the same.
No, because this is a perfect. This is evident because, in the African community, yeah. Why
Yeah,
not?
no, he picked up a licorice. Everyone hates licorice, but yeah,
that's good.
African
So,
community.
so example in the African community, yeah, you know, the younger generation, some of them might be experiencing depression and that, but the older generation has no clue.
That's not true.
Nah, you. No, okay,
What do you mean?
they
I'm
don't-
grown up in
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
in that community. I know exactly. I talk
there's
to them.
Okay, you telling me? Okay,
No, they've just never vocalized.
and they've never
Yeah.
been able to see it as prominent as evident or
As a
even know that it's
legitimate
called
issue.
depression,
Yeah.
right?
That's-
For your parents, you telling me there was a point in time where they were like, I don't know how I'm going to provide for my children right now. I don't know how we're going to leave South Sudan, which is a war, when it was like, war torn and all that
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
stuff. I don't know how we're going to leave and get
Those
everyone.
people were depressed.
You telling me they weren't struck? That's depression. It just wasn't labeled as depression. Depression at the point,
Nah, bro.
bro. Because if you start to do that, you're going to negate the experience of other people.
No,
bro.
because even this is what it is, yeah. Man, this is gonna be here the discussion right here, guys. Let me move my stuff.
2-hour episode.
It is what it
it's
is.
gonna be 2-hour episode anyway. And the reason why I say this is because I've seen younger generations talking to older generations, and yet they're in the same room,
Yeah.
yeah. And the youngers trying to even get advice, and they just keep clashing.
All right, so this is where it comes back to exactly what we're saying, becoming out of touch and stuff like that. The human condition is still the same in terms
Okay,
of that.
so why
They're
is it that
labeled-
why is it that they
okay,
couldn't
they're
be able to
they're
understand
labeled
each other
different.
in
They're
that
labeled as
situation?
different things, right?
Yeah,
The
yeah.
problems are labeled differently, right?
Uh-huh.
When it comes down to it, we're still going through the same thing. But when I'm looking at how, so it's kind of like, oof, I better get this right in my analogy, man. If I choke right now, right? It's kind of like we have the same source of water, right? We have the same well.
Yeah, I agree
right? There's a
with
well
that.
of
Yeah,
water or something, right? Out of your tap, right? Your water comes out blue. Yeah. Out of my tap, my water's coming out red or something like that.
Yeah.
So I'm so used to this red water experience, and for some reason, all the problems that are attached to whatever, I relate it back to this red water, right?
Yeah.
For you, the problems that you may face or whatever in terms of your crops or whatever it may be, yeah, you relate it back to this blue water. We both come from the same source, but our problems, we attach it to something different, right? But we're still going through the same kind of issues and stuff like that.
Yeah, but
you know what I mean?
No, I agree
We
with that. Like,
it's
it's
still,
the
the
same-
issue
it's the
comes
same-
from the
it's
same
the
place.
same
We
thing.
just experience it differently. But the experiences now, how I look at yours, I can't understand it because my experience expresses itself in a different kind of way.
But the whole
So
point
that's
is try
the-
to understand
that's
each
what I'm
other,
saying.
though. So now you're saying that if it comes back from the same water but just different colors, if it is the same water, we should be able to understand each
Yeah,
other, though.
the reason why that doesn't happen is because a lot of people aren't taking the time to allow themselves to understand. And when they try to, they're too busy still. It's all this open-minded stuff. If you have an open mind, you'll be able to understand anything and anything and that anyone wants to explain. As long as you have an open mind, point blank period. Like, if you come from it at a point of view of like, I fully understand why you feel the way about what you feel, and I want to hear your reasons for it. Blocking out whatever thoughts I have for it, and I fully understand that it's important to you. But so many people don't come into arguments or discussions or environments or issues from that angle, and that's why there's that much of a disparity in terms of like age gap and stuff like that. Because no one wants to respect the fact that whatever someone else is going through is actually important to them. And I actually have that problem sometimes, even in a relationship as well. I have that problem where I'm like,
Dismiss the issue.
I dismiss the issue because I'm like, to me, it doesn't look like that big. But when you come from it from a point of like, to you, this actually is big, and you want to sit down and hear the reasons why and respect them for it, because that's where it comes down to, bro. Being able to respect them for it, that's when it's like actually like, you can actually make a progress and get to somewhere. But people don't do that.
I've seen, bro, honestly, like, I've seen both try to communicate and it just keeps clashing in a way because it's like.
But exactly, is it people that are communicating and to listen, or you just
but
like,
both of them
that
tried-
whatever
but
the statement is?
But both of them tried to take the step to actually try to communicate, right? It's like, cool, I don't full on understand what it is that you're going through, so it's hard for me to even try to provide you with the proper advice in order for, because at the end of the day,
Sometimes you can't even provide advice. All you can do is understand.
yeah,
You
but
know
the
what I
thing
mean?
is, if a young person is going to you, They don't want you to understand. They want to know what they can do. That's why they're coming to you. If I'm coming to you right now, I don't want to just come to you so you can listen to what I have to say. You feel
What do you
I
reckon
mean?
about that, Mr. Leader?
Especially a young person, they're coming to you because I think when it comes to this, coming to someone, it depends on who you are, right?
And what the issue is too.
And what the issue is, because what do you call it? In the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, some guy flew all the across the state to go express his thoughts and feelings. He was angry about, I forgot the issue, but he was angry about something. And he went to his closest friend. So he flew all the way to go to his closest friend. And he just spoke to his friend for an hour. And you know what he said to his friend after at the end of the conversation? He said, "Thank you," right? Like, he's like, "You've done a lot for me." And he walked out. At the end of the day, his friend did not even give him any advice. His friend was just able to listen to his problem. And he said, "Thank you for that." You feel what I mean? So then now sometimes you do get to an age where it's like, I just want you to listen. And that's all I need, right? But I realize with younger people, it's like, yes, I want you to listen. But at the same time, I need help. I need to know what is it that I can do right now in my situation, right? And sometimes it's so hard to provide advice in terms of what it is that you can do right now in your situation if I've never been in that situation. You feel, how can I give you advice on how you can study better if I've never studied and I just work full time? If you dig what I'm saying. But there's pretty straightforward stuff like relationships. Okay, I've been in a relationship, so I can help you out with that. You feel what I'm saying? So another one is career. What about the career? Remember how last time we said we are in a society where there's so many different things with career wise and everything. Where with our parents, they weren't bombarded with this whole career choices and everything. It's like, you feel what I'm saying? It's like, if I'm coming to you, which path should I go with? Blah, blah, blah. And that's not really something that they really had trouble with. It's hard for them to say, okay, this is how you should go on about it. But we face that, right? So which means that when we have our kids later on, we kind of teach them how you can pick the right career for yourself. Like my brother, like just last week, he was coming to me, he was like, he's in year 12. The selection stuff is like, what can I do? And I've gone through it. So what I can say to him is, write down right now, what is it they enjoy the most? And they'll come back to me. He told me, okay, I like this, I like this, I like that, I like that. Okay, cool. I was like, you don't need to worry about this because this you can do it on the side. You don't have to go to university for that. This you have to go to university for. And just being able to talk to him about that. And I've gone through it. I can give him exact advice on how to do it. But if, example, my dad never gone through this preference selection and everything. So how can he go to my dad and say, help me with my selection preference?
Do you guys have any thoughts on that? Because I want to say something, but I'll let you guys say anything. So like for that, right? You can't expect Farid, I just lost it. But you can't expect someone to be the be all and end all for like all answers in terms of what you want, right? So that's obviously when you go to someone who's well versed in that kind of an area or something like that, right? So each generation is meant to pass on, the traits and the experiences. The lessons from their generation to the next one that's coming, right?
100%.
You're meant to. We're honestly meant to just keep getting better and better.
Getting better,
because that makes the most complete sense, if we are really learning from lessons and stuff, right?
Yeah.
So for children going to parents that have never had to deal with the career pressures that we deal with, right? Sometimes the best advice that the parent can really give is like, ultimately, I realized, I wasn't able to, do my passion or pursue my passion or, do what I was able to really love. For you, follow your heart. That's what I kid kind of sometimes needed to hear.
That's I think I was going to say is like, yes, they may not be able to give you exact response for the thing, but like if you're, and it's hard for young people because honestly no one's that smart most of the time, but it's like if you're able to just go break it all the way down and go, I'm dealing with, or actually for older person, right? You just go, okay, so my kid is clearly dealing with pressure.
Yeah.
When is a moment in my life that I've felt immense pressure because I need to make a decision?
Exactly.
All right. So, okay, I've never done VCE. I've never done a selection process, all that. But I made a massive decision about whether I moved to Australia or Canada. And that was pressure.
Oh,
right.
There you go.
And then it's like, so how did I do it? And then whatever you end up saying, I tossed a coin. I prayed. Whatever.
Yeah.
No, right? I'll feel what you're saying.
So it's like all you're doing is because Like, I think that's what wisdom is. Wisdom is,
Yeah.
because if you're going to experience everything in life, you're going to have to live for such a long time.
It's kind of like what you mentioned before about the Solomon story. He's never had
Right,
to
it's like,
experience that before. But
How often do two women come up to you and like, that's my baby? No,
Yeah.
that's my baby.
Yeah.
Like, cut it.
Yeah, exactly. You know?
Right?
Well, so it's like being able to identify exactly what he's just said now. Identifying
It's
where
the
you
actual
can give a lesson
common
you've learned.
root,
Yeah, exactly.
right? Like
yeah.
of the issue.
Because when it comes down to it, like we're saying, every problem we're facing now is just a different expression of a similar thing that people in the past have gone through.
Yeah.
Okay,
100%.
so right now, let's go back to the selection and everything, right? And you have a choice to go between me or no right now, yeah? In terms of, okay, you're finishing year 12 and I've been in the exact same position 3 years ago. No hasn't, but he's very wise with all this wisdom and all that stuff. But I've been in that exact same shoes. Who are you gonna go to in terms of advice?
This is the perfect.
see?
This is the perfect answer. Fill yourself with as much information as you can.
No.
Doesn't.
But I'm trying to prove a point in terms of like we tend.
But that's
to,
not the experience of life. We can go to any avenue for information.
We go to anyone, but I'm telling you, this is why some people go to this person because this person has been in their shoes rather than this person.
Wrong.
But-
I think they go to the one that they trust.
And
more.
also, the onus comes on you to fill yourself with as much information
because
available.
I've asked people that I know have less, what is it?
Knowledge or
Maybe less knowledge on the thing, but I know that they have my best interest at heart for sure.
Yeah.
Like they genuinely care of how the outcome goes.
yeah.
Right. So,
Like that,
Whether-
obviously it depends on the situation as well. For example, if you over here, you do 1,000 presentations and it's my first time doing a presentation.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm gonna run to you because you do that. You are in that exact same position.
Fair enough. You know,
Yeah,
you can teach me the skills for presenting, whatever. Someone that cares about me can also now add an element of like, believe in
mean,
yourself. You know,
yeah.
I believe in you.
I
Believe in
believe
yourself.
in you.
Why not fill yourself with all these different? We're never gonna be
No, no.
stuck. We're never gonna look. We're never gonna be in a point in life where we're limited in how
to
much
what?
information in how much information we can get. So this right now is a hypothetical situation that we're never going to experience. So for kids or for young people, look, this is how it all ends up perfectly. If we as the older gen are able to impart the wisdom, just bombard them with this wisdom, bro. Always be, giving positive feedback or constructive criticism, educating the young ones, passing lessons on, blah, blah. And they're also now being people who ask the older generation questions, see the wisdom in experience and stuff like that. The world's going to be a better place, bro. Everyone's going to be, living better.
100%.
Obviously, that's not the case, but that's how it starts to make sense. If
That's
you
how it
take
starts to make sense.
responsibility for your whatever, and then you're also being caring for the people below. That's how it all works out for everyone.
But obviously, not everyone in their 20s now are, because you're saying, 22, blah, blah, blah. You should be able to pass on wisdom and everything to the young people. Some people at the age of that don't even have the life together in a way in order for them to even.
Oh, you don't have to have your life together, but you would have gone through something, and that can mean something for someone else that hasn't even gone through it yet. You know what I mean?
I'm not talking about career wise and everything. I'm just talking
Anything.
about I'm just talking about in general where it's like you are not in the right form and it's just so on. You're just dealing with so much stuff, and I feel like that happens a lot these days as well because there's a lot of things that's going on.
Got an anxious generation.
Yeah, because at this age, a lot of things are happening.
It's messed up.
Things are hitting you left and right. So it's hard for you to think about you trying to mentor the young ones and everything when you feel like you are not stable yourself.
This is what I was gonna say before when Ma was talking about like how it's not really possible for us to be able to mentor the young generation. I think we need to
not what
break
I'm
it down. No, you mentioned like, it's not like some people can't because
at this age,
yeah, but it's because of how we're looking at it as well. You have to realize in terms of mentorship, it's just our influence, right?
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be in such an organized, constructive youth leader kind of or youth mentor kind of position, right? It can literally just be
your siblings.
Siblings, bro. If you can't even have an influence on your siblings, that's a problem. You know what I mean? Like if you can't speak into their life.
What if you don't have siblings?
Yeah, but I'm saying like if you do have siblings, that's cousins, etc. You know what I mean? Like there has to be some
cousins.
But then that now no, get out of here, bro.
Don't you have a shift to work?
But that comes down to like obviously it doesn't mean go and now try to put yourself in the environment where you're just gonna find like younger kids and stuff.
Walks into a high school.
You can't be doing that. Get him. Yeah.
Hey, slow down, boys.
Clearly, we can't do that. But
Yeah.
like, you know, if you are at a position where you are in a similar, in a close environment with younger children, why not be the older person that is able to influence them? So we're not saying such an organized fashion. Just have some form of influence or something like that.
I feel like one important thing for me is like we need to start teaching our younger generation that when you go out, you know, seek information, like don't try and seek answers, because a lot of people are like, you know,
Wait, hold on.
Hold on.
like seek like
I think you have to drop a bomb for that.
No,
I'm trying to figure it out. I'm trying to figure it out
Repeat it
still.
one more time.
No, wait. I'm trying to.
let me try and
Yeah,
explain.
explain it. And
Yeah.
then, 'cause I feel like it might be a bomb.
It might be a bomb, but
Oh, okay, you guys just
or
hyped it up. Oh,
it might be a
God.
bomb or it might be crickets. The choice is yours.
I heard something.
I don't want to
then
say. I don't want to say it anymore.
No, please say it.
No, I like it.
That
At
I
least it
like it. I
sounds
like it.
fun.
I want to
hear it.
repeat it in my head. Hey,
It's,
please.
it's that white text on the black background.
That's honest.
Hey,
That's
hey,
what I'm trying to see
hey,
if it's one of
please.
those moments.
Hey, please. Repeat
So
it
you
one more
said-
time.
Anyways, yeah, I was saying that, you know, we should start teaching the younger generation that they should seek information rather than answers, because I feel like a lot of them, you know, like if you're mentoring a student and whatnot, you know, they'll come up to you and we're talking about the preference thing and they'll be like, which one should I do? What should I do? What should I put
yeah.
first?
Nah, you killed the bomb, bro.
Oh, you guys, bro, that was very
I actually
really
like
that's
that.
a lot of
I
really
But yeah,
like
like
that.
with
Yeah,
the,
that
with the
was dope.
preference thing, rather than coming and saying, what do I do? What do I put first? It's like, okay, here's the information. Like you said, give me a list of what you're good at, and then I can give you information on, you know, courses and
this,
whatnot
yeah.
that implement the things that you're good at, and then you go and make your own decision. Rather than, because then if you're just constantly giving them answers, they'll never be able to stand on their own feet. And if they're in situations where it's like, I need to make an answer now, that's when you're going to start, you know, getting anxious. That's when you're going to start feeling all of these negative things.
You just got to do the Jesus thing and respond with questions. What do I do? What do you think you should do?
Yeah. Why not?
Who are you? Who do you say I am?
And I think it's also teaching them an important skill as well.
Yeah.
Because when you're providing someone with all the information, you have to put the pieces together. And that's a really important skill to have. You know what I mean? No one can give you all the answers to everything. All the information is there. It's like the same with assignments and everything. I am not giving you the answer to the topic, to the question, but here's the information that you need to formulate your own answers.
Yeah.
You feel? So if you start that at a young age, you're going to use that through university, through that everyday life as well.
I dig.